alive. No, I'm live. I don't know about alive. But I do have a giant freaking coffee. Woo! Hello, interwebs. It's me, sweaty little guy. Holy moly. I've discovered something in my BurnAndLearn. My learn for today was that my 13-year-old son is far, far fitter than I am. It's terrifying. He just did that entire workout without even like I don't think his heartbeat even went up. I was like, he's like, boy, you sweat a lot. I'm like, I'm old a lot. Old a lot. That's what I do. Sir, old a lot. Good morning. How are you? Oh, I should put my glasses on. So all I saw was good morning because it was all in capitals. Ow, poked myself in the eye. My glasses are all greasy. What the heck? One of them mornings. I missed my 11 o'clock deadline, didn't I? I tried to get this done before 11 o'clock, but it's, you know what? Maybe on the weekends I'll give myself a break. Jane was absolutely lovely this morning, as she is every morning, to be fair. But she actually got up with the dog this morning and did my dogly duties this morning. So I didn't have to feed her or throw bickies or this thing of the only way to get her outside is to toss biscuits into the backyard in the hopes that she'll go, oh, look at that, and then go pee on something. It's a shame I don't have my, what is that? You don't have my, what is it? What? My OK Boomer remote here. Oh, yeah, Jim, keep that going. Keep that going, Jimmy. I'm going to start calling you Jimmy. No, that's terrible. You don't seem like a Jimmy. Definitely a James. James, what PC did you get? Baz was telling me you finally succumbed to the PC madness and have bought a gaming PC. I'm curious to know what you got. Stargate Network is gonna have VR. Oh, fantastic. Well, make sure that it's got settings for wimpy McKay like seasickness people like me. I can't do anything. I honestly found myself feeling woozy in Stardew Valley yesterday. Like, I've got to that point. I've started reading Like Wars, and all I can say so far is, wow, a good read already. Like Wars. Interesting. Is that like social media and stuff? I read a great one called Surveillance Capitalism. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, my mic is pointed the wrong way, isn't it? That would might be better if I do this. Oop, or not. Maybe it would not be better if I did that. It'd be better if I've broken everything. As we know, I'm really good with phones. What have I done? Okay, God damn it, this is how I turn into it. This truly is OK Boomer at this point. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. Okay, will that work? No. Okay, you're not gonna behave at all, are you? Okay, so you just fine. So the sound's gonna be like this today. I took Dramamine the last time we went to Disney. Yeah, I can do all the roller coasters. I can do all that stuff. I cannot do any of those new VR rides. Like, the only one I could sort of deal with was at Universal, and that was the Transformers one. That was just really cool. But even the Star Wars ones, Star Wars ones I guess wasn't too bad. But oh my God, the Harry Potter stuff. Oh God, I was down. I was down for the count. I thought the entire day was ruined at that point. Because of the motion sickness on that. Let me just put something to prop this up. See if I can. I'm such a perfectionist, as you can tell from my perfectly engineered streams and stuff. I'm always so prepared for these things. You'd think in that I do this every freaking day that I'd have this down, but no, guess not. Hello, Carissa. Let me see what else I can do here. I can say hello to Carissa. I can say hello to Charmiso Soup. Squirrel ASMR. What a great name. Squirrel ASMR. I'd probably listen to that. Good timing. Just done watching WandaVision. What do you think of WandaVision? I haven't sort of jumped in yet. Audio's fine. Sounds fine. Much better. Echo. There was an echo? I had it for a second. You don't recommend Like Wars to me. Oh, did I recommend it? Did I read that one? Oh my God, I might have. Okay, then, did I? It's possible I did. Sorry. Yeah, I've read I went through this whole stage of just reading about sort of surveillance capitalism and all this kind of stuff. So maybe I did have to look through my books and see what I've got, because a lot of it sort of like melds in my mind, if that makes sense. A mind meld. Hey, Sir David. Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Rocco Fillmore. I'd go for a sir. I'd be happy with a sir. Am I allowed to be a sir? I was born in England. Does that mean I can be a sir? Hey, Jane. Yeah. Can I be knighted? Yeah. Because I'm British, right? Yeah. All right, someone should definitely get on that. Apparently I could be knighted. Jane says so, and she'd know, because she grew up like across from Buckingham Palace, so she would know these things. She's got to be like one of the only people who grew up like poor across from Buckingham Palace. I mean, they had no money at all. They lived in a little tiny flat above a theater. And but of course, with all these sort of posh friends and things. So, how was my holidays? There weren't really any, were there really? I mean, we stayed home, which is always a holiday for me. Any new on film? Any news on Film Bandits? Yeah, so Film Bandits. I'm going to start with a Writing Bandits on Tuesday. So Tuesday noon EST, Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do our first sort of foray into the writing side of film, TV, and and publishing basically, because this guy Crow Scratch is an old friend of mine, and he's done everything. I mean, he's just done absolutely everything, and now he's moved into this sort of entrepreneurial stage of his writing career, where he's put out like 5 books of short stories, and is like this like major sort of like inspiration to me. Like I can't get over it how productive he is. Like just squirreling away at this stuff on his own, and it was sort of a reaction to the industry to some extent, where he just wanted to do his own thing, and what he's doing is just amazing, because he's just going to have he already has like this massive library of potential products to be sold, I guess, in a way. Like, not products is the wrong term. All these sort of like IPs, the industry would call it, intellectual properties. He's got these great stories, basically. And because they're all short stories, they could all be turned into, each one could be their own amazing series, frankly. He's probably got 3 or 4 like Buffy the Vampire Slayer type things, and a couple of great fantasy things, and some really good sort of horror anthology, easy for him to say, anthology stuff. So I really want to sort of just talk to him about how he works. How much of it's just sort of drinking whiskey alone at home, and how much of it's hard work, and how much of it's inspiration, and just some of his experiences, because he's had some crazy, I mean, he's had Nickelodeon series that, where they were going to go global with this stuff, and had all sorts of business disasters, and just so many things that you don't even think about in the industry happening. He's been a part of it and overcome all this stuff. So it's just an amazing guy. Anyways, Terry aim high, go for the knighthood. I'm going for the knighthood. Yeah, I think it's good. Hello from Scotland. Hello, it's Scottish Evil. Alan McLean, how are you? So each one is like an Outer Limits or a Black Mirror. It's less Black Mirror, more Outer Limits, I guess. I almost want to say Ray Bradbury. If anyone read, there was an amazing anthology book of Ray Bradbury stories called October Country, which just haunted my youth. I think I read them a few times. There's like one about this like guy being in the catacombs in Mexico and just thinking, I can't die here. If I was going to die anywhere, I can't die in the catacombs of Mexico. And then it was just horrific, and stories about babies that are born and kill their parents, and like it's just really, schoolboy fun horror stuff. something wicked this way comes kind of stuff. In fact, I think Ray Bradbury might have written that. Anyways, in fact, that might even be one of the short stories. Anyway, so I without any doubt would recommend Crow Scratch's stuff. As if you are into Ray Bradbury, you will love his stuff, because he also has some fantasy stuff. He's got some Tolkien stuff. Almost, I mean, it's sort of aimed at, I think, it's aimed at sort of like parents with like with like, I don't know, like mid-teens, maybe something like that. But honestly, it's just enjoyable reading. It's just, you feel a bit guilty reading it because it's just so much fun. So yeah. Hello, Rick's World, Italy and France. Hi, Italy and France, Canada here. Oh, are Italy and France in the house? I miss Atlantis too, it's true. I did not do an Outer Limits, David. No, that would have been fun though. Shanks, again, I'm not on the West Coast, right? I'm on the East Coast, or I'm in LA. So it's, they don't like flying people around for these things. What do we got? Do you ever keep in contact with, well, they like flying people around. They like flying really famous people around. Do you ever keep in contact with and your crewmates? Good question. Asked it a few times, but basically social media. That's how I keep in touch with people, trading barbs on Twitter usually. Lucretia Sanders. Well, I'm a big fan of you for being a big fan of me. How's that? In fact, I don't blame you at all. I'm also a very big fan of myself. Axel Lobry from France. Bonjour, Axel. Comment allez-vous? I found you some 3D scanners for your new phone. It's called Hedges and Record 3D. Oh, fantastic. Simon, as soon as I get my SIM card, I told you my tale of SIM card terror, right? That I managed to deactivate not only my SIM card, but Jane's SIM card in my attempt to troubleshoot the issue with my new phone. That went down really well. Jane, you're still speaking to me, right? No, obviously not. Okay, so everyone wants Atlantis back. I want. Is that your joke? Are you doing social media joking? I see. Very good. So she is actually speaking to me, apparently, or she's just laughing at me. Hey, Zyra Taz, how are you? Sort of, Soma Proof said about what? Him and Jewel have not of an exercise rivalry. Not really. There's no rivalry. I don't think she feels in the slightest bit threatened, nor should she. But Jewel is definitely, certainly partially to blame for this because, she posted a couple of photos where, there's like Jewel, who, as well as being like one of the more intelligent and funny people I've ever met, happens to be one of the most attractive. Shows a before photo and then shows an after photo. The before photo looking better than anything I've seen in like fashion magazines, and then after, she somehow managed to retain all of her, femininity, classic, I guess, for one of a, in a sort of a male sort of probably misogynist way. She somehow managed to remain a beautiful woman and yet so incredibly fit. I would kill for like one of those abs on me. That's not her abs on me. I'd like to have one of those abs, I would say. I mean, be careful what I say there. All right, anyways, let's change the subject. Is it hot in here? All right, what did you think of the Homecoming Stargate books? Do you think Rodney would have made a good Wraith? Rodney would have made a good anything, let's face it. Also, would they have had to pay you more to be a Wraith? I wish. Sorry, I'm making a lot of noise with this microphone. But no, in fact, my joke on set was when I had to do like duet and I had to play two Rodneys and stuff, or play multiple characters. That wasn't duet, was it? But I mean, again, even just duet, where you're basically doing the lines of two characters. I was joking that they should pay me twice for that, but weirdly, they didn't listen. They didn't go for that. RDA's birthday today, 71. Happy birthday, RDA! 71. Oh my God! Wow. God, he's just 71. Wow, I had no idea he was that old. He seems like he's such a young soul, that man. Jewel's a great addition to the Atlantis. Glad she came on the show. She really was. I mean, I feel like they could have done more with her, frankly. I mean, I think there was more that she could have done, especially given that amazing run she had on Firefly, where she just had such an iconic character. You know what I mean? Rodney, deep episode, loved it. Very good, thank you. I loved anything that had the name Rodney in it. If anyone is not aware of the 8-book series, Wraith is transformed. Oh, don't no spoilers. I have not read the fan books, to be honest. The fan books, they're not fan books, fan fiction. I haven't read fan fiction because sometimes it gets a bit creepy for me. It's just kind of weird. Someone showed me one and it was like me making out with Shepard all the time and stuff. It was really weird. So that's not really my thing. But I haven't read the books either. I guess in a weird way, I guess you do a show for that long. I loved every freaking second of it. I mean, it was some really hard work, but God, I just loved playing Rodney. Absolutely loved it. And when it's over, it's kind of weird to revisit it in a way. Like I like because I feel like I'm just talking to people who are the nerds like me, basically. So no offense. I mean that as a compliment. Nerds like me, in that I associate myself. I consider myself a nerd almost more than I am a geek. Geek has almost a cool connotation to it. I feel like I haven't quite achieved the cool factor yet. The nerd thing is still very much more my style, I think. Disappearing into technology and things. David, I'm rewatching Stargate Atlantis. I'm on Grace Under Pressure, where Rodney is stuck in the jumper underwater. That is a fine episode. And even Amanda's not bad in it too, to be honest. I mean, Carter's okay in that show too. Even when Rodney almost drowned, exactly. I don't recall. Was your technobabble in 3-word form like Star Trek? Technobabble for me, as Brad Wright would call it, was gold. He felt that he was giving me, comedy and acting gold, and really he was. I mean, it's so funny. I'm listening to all these podcasts about business, and every so often someone will talk about I just knew this was going to work. And I remember I knew when I did that Stargate episode, I truly didn't, that first Stargate SG-1 episode, I really didn't think anything more about it. I did it, I loved it, it was fun, but I thought maybe it'd be nice to come, maybe they might, I don't die, maybe I could come back for an episode. And so that was, there was definitely that aspect of it. But when I did the first episode of Atlantis. That pilot episode, even though the pilot episode wasn't written for my character, it's written for another character. And they really didn't have time to rewrite it properly. They basically just changed the names in the script, and that was it. Even that episode, I just went, yeah, this works. Like I knew that McKay worked in this. I know that this sounds so egotistical, and it probably is, but I just felt like it was gonna resonate. Like I felt like this is a character I would want to watch, and so that was kind of neat. It's like it's neat hearing these business guys talking about, and women. Sorry, business. I say guys as I should say dudes because that's men and women, right? But all of these people talking about businesses and what worked and what didn't work and what they felt, whether they had that sort of light bulb moment where they went like, this is it. And that was, for me, that happened with acting. It happens with shows every so often. Shape of Water was another one where I was a part of that. And it was like, that was a different one. That wasn't even like a success thing. That was like being a part of something magical. You know what I mean? Like that was, walking on set and seeing those actors work and seeing that amazing, this amazing larger than life Guillermo del Toro character who is the director and writer and like visionary for all this stuff. I basically joined the cult of GDT, as I call it, at that point, because I was so taken with the way he worked and the man himself and his just incredible vision and his sort of approach to life and everything. I just freaking loved it. So that was another one of those moments where I just sort of went, those epiphany moments where you go like, wait a second, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter that it's not a big part. It doesn't matter that it's a star making role or not. What's important is that I get to be a part of this machine. And I think that's every so often it's good to sort of have that little moment where you go like, just stop pursuing it as a business and start remembering why you got into it because you just freaking love doing it. And it's very, very easy to get distracted by all of the trappings and silliness that go along with acting. I mean, you as an actor, you get treated. We're talking about Outer Limits, okay? Or this might have been actually a Twilight Zone episode, but there's those stories about that episode where there's like that kid with superpowers. The kid's got powers and he could like with his thoughts kill someone or send them to another dimension or all this kind of stuff. So everyone was like, oh, okay, come on, little Jimmy, I'll get you ice cream. How much ice cream you want? Like basically terrified of this child. And I feel like the film industry is a bit like that with actors. And as people become more and more famous, they become more and more sort of coddled and pandered to, and they don't hear the truth about stuff. And that I find very frustrating. It's very easy to get kind of jaded about that approach where you see people who haven't done much, but have somehow become famous because of, the way they look or because of, whatever. I mean, who knows? And it's very easy to sort of let that sort of like weigh on you when you look like this. Where's the talent side of it? Like that kind of stuff. But I remember there was an amazing interview with Patrick Stewart, and this was before Star Trek. I mean, so he was obviously known, but he wasn't sort of like mega star like he is now. And he wasn't Sir yet, like me. And I think he said words to his, I mean, he obviously would have said it much better than I do, but he basically said, you have to love it more than you hate it as a career. And that is so true that there is so much to hate. I've always said I hate being an actor. I freaking love acting, but I hate being an actor because of all the stuff that goes around with it. And he just said, you have to not, and in loving it more than you hate it, you have to watch less talented people become so much more famous and rich and lauded than you will ever be. And you have to, you have to sort of like put up with all of this stuff, in a way, and yet still find a way to love it. And I feel like in a big part because of Shape of Water, I would say, I found that. I mean, I definitely found after Stargate, it was hard to go back to stuff because that's such an unlikely role to come your way. I was so lucky to get McKay, and I think a couple of years earlier, a couple of years later, it wouldn't have gone to me. And so I just felt like I ran with that. I loved it. And so trying to find other things to do after that, it was very hard to find that sort of excitement. And I definitely did. There were definitely things that I did that I loved after that, really enjoyed. But I found it difficult just to do the work, if that makes sense. Like just to concentrate on the acting part of the being an actor part of acting, which I just have always hated. And as always, I get distracted by other things that I love, frankly, more. I love electronics. I love technology. I really enjoy, helping kids to discover things. Not just kids, people. I love discussing people's business, hopes and dreams. I love discussing, what kids want to do with their lives, what people want to do with their lives. It's fun talking to, 50-year-olds like me who still don't know what they want to be when they grow up. I mean, I love all of that side of stuff. And I'm really enjoying right now the process of turning Tech Bandits into a business, because that's another thing I love. I love, I love that angle on it. I think that'll be interesting to see what I can do with that. I mean, it would be a business that just puts all the profits back into the Tech Bandit stuff, but still, I feel like that is part of a measure of its success will be how much it can sort of put back in, because I really feel like I've got a job. I've got a job that pays very, very well. I could literally just act. I could just act and I would be more than well off. I mean, this house is the house that Stargate built. My kid goes to a good school. We live in a great neighborhood. We've got, the things we need. I mean, you can always have more money, but, the pandemic was certainly pretty rough on us for the first 6 months or so. But the reality is acting pays the bills, more than pays the bills. It is my job. It is my career. I love it. That's fine. But the Tech Bandits is something that I absolutely love doing. I mean, more and more it's becoming like I will choose it over so many other things. In many cases, some acting stuff as well. So I sort of look forward to seeing what I can do with that as well. But sort of bringing it slightly back to what I was talking about was when I got to Shape of Water, I got the job, and I was my sort of jaded mentality was like, all right, check that box. Worked with a famous director, Guillermo del Toro. Great, he's on my list of people I can sort of like drop their name when I go in for an audition or whatever. Very businesslike about it, Then I read the script and I was like, wow, this is a freaking weird script. I love it. Very much my type of stuff. And then I got a call and they said, he wants you to come in for rehearsals. And I was like, oh, God, I freaking hate rehearsals. Like, what are we going to rehearse? Like, all right, fine. I've only got like a couple of scenes. Why do I have to, whatever. The usual, I was like, I'd rather be playing with my electronics. And I think I was doing Tech Bandits back then too. So I would have been drawn to the Tech Bandit stuff. So resentfully, I would sort of hop on my bicycle and cycle down. And the first day I arrived for rehearsals, I get there and there's, all this stuff going on. There's, they shoot the Strain there as well. So these big, fabulous looking monsters lining the walls and people running around, lots of stuff going on. And I get there, oh, David, Guillermo wants to see you. I'm like, what? I have like 5 lines. What do you, okay. And so he calls me to his office. Now, we met before because I've worked on Splice, which he produced. And, I've met him a couple of times sort of socially at film festivals and stuff. But and I think the opening of Splice, I guess, was another one where we were both sort of geeking out. Anyway, so he calls me in his office, and so this very short pleasantries and stuff. And then he goes, "Oh, I want to give you this." And he goes to his desk and he fumbles around his desk and he brings out this little tiny cross. And he says, "I found this in like a market in like I don't know where it was, like somewhere in the middle of freaking nowhere, like and he says, I found this in the market. I saw this and I thought this is Fleming. Fleming would wear this." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Here, you look after this, make sure the wardrobe." And he gives me this little tiny cross. And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't lose this cross." And I find places to look up. For months I was terrified that I was going to lose this little cross because we hadn't done wardrobe and stuff. And then we started doing rehearsals. And we're doing rehearsals, and we're all sitting around the room. Everyone's there. All these like brilliant freaking actors, and they're all just talking about the scenes. And Guillermo would read a scene, and then Guillermo would explain where this idea came from, and it would go everywhere from like family stuff to like rescuing frogs that were crossing the road, and the moral debate about these things, and just it was the most amazing time. I had the best, and they would bring lunch in, and I found myself going like, who have I become? How am I so jaded that this isn't the most magical experience? And to the point where you'd be doing a scene and you're not even in the scene. And Garen would go, what do you think? And he'd like look at me, like as he would look at anyone in the room. He would look to people. He wanted people to talk about this stuff, and I was so like it tore my heart out. I felt like I was a freaking I felt like I was a 4-year-old kid watching Doctor Who from behind the sofa again. I'm wishing I want to be that guy. And I suddenly went, oh my God, I'm getting to be that guy. Maybe not that Doctor Who, maybe not that thing, but I got to do Stargate. I got to be a Doctor Who like doctor. And now I'm getting to work with these brilliant madmen and women and brilliant artists in general, bringing in bits of this creature that they had to test, and it was just God, it was amazing. And that was sort of I came out of that, and he would, and also just everything he said, he had so much advice, so many things to say. He's so sort of wise beyond his years in a way, and he would say like, you don't make a movie because you think you should, or because you think it's the right movie to make, or he says you make a movie because you will die if you don't. And I realized that so much of my approach to this industry has been about the industry and not about I want to say it's not really art, not really craft, about the love, I think, of it, about the truly loving the whole process, which is why you got into it. I got into it because film was magic to me. Film and television, these characters, these stories, these sort of adventures you got to watch and become a part of were just so overpowering to me. They were more important than my own life. I mean, I spent most of my high school years in movie theaters watching movies instead of being at school. I mean, it was awful. I was terrible at school. And again, as I say, never equating all the fun, frivolous things that I did outside of school, like building computers and playing with electronics and video technology and all that stuff, making movies with my friends. It wasn't until a couple of sort of teachers pointed out that realized that this is the only thing that I was interested in. So, and I just sort of wanted, in a way, part of the thing about the whole movie bandits and to start with writing bandits now is to try to maybe just persuade a couple of people that this isn't the stupidest thing in the world to do, and that maybe there is a way to make this work. And, I just lost an uncle recently to COVID, and he was a very, very well-respected, very brilliant psychiatrist. And he said to me that he was jealous that I had sort of defied all of the parental and societal pressure to finish school and go to university and take the road more taken, the more traveled, and that I had taken the road less traveled, I think, as he said. And I just thought, wow, like you got to be careful not to take this stuff for granted. I hope that in some way, whether it's through the technology or the gaming stuff or as I say, some of this like movie stuff, that maybe there's a 13 or a 14-year-old kid or a 50 or 60 or 70-year-old person who suddenly goes, maybe I should give this a go. I mean, what has he got that I don't have? And honestly, I think the only thing I've got that other people might not have is that absolute kind of like love for the adventure that this allows you to be a part of. So there you go. Sorry, boy, what the heck is happening with me? This is supposed to be I'm supposed to be sweaty and yelling. Instead, I'm going on about this. 37, big deal. It doesn't matter. This is the beautiful thing about the film industry. It doesn't care how old you are. I mean, it's much, 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 much harder if you're older. I'm not going to lie. That's the reality is. I mean, if you are 30 plus as a woman in this industry, it is freaking difficult. But that is changing. And it will change, I think, as well. I think no one goes into the film industry. No one should go into the film industry thinking it's going to be easy. Because if you do, then you should go do something else. Because the reality is, if I had spent the amount of time that I have spent on auditions and acting and all of the nonsense that surrounds the actual on-set fun stuff, I'd be a pretty freaking high-paid lawyer right now or something, something that I hated probably, but I'd be making a shed load of money because, you've just put in the hours on this stuff. Acting and the filmmaking industry in general, it doesn't necessarily build. In fact, it's unlikely to build. It's often peaks and valleys on this stuff. So I really, they say the same thing about YouTubers and streamers as well. They always say, make sure you're authentic. And I always go like, don't be authentic. Like, just do something you love doing, and then you don't have to worry about authentic. Like, this kind of like, I hate the fact that there's like a terminology for it. Oh man, you're so authentic. It's like, what is that? What do you mean? You mean I'm telling the truth? You mean that I'm not afraid afraid is the wrong word. I mean, I just, I don't know. It's fascinating to me. I think there's so many sort of ways that the streams are crossing here. I mean, there's like, to me, I feel like I'm grabbing like a rope from acting and a rope from directing and another one from writing and streaming and tech, and I'm tying them all together, and I got a neat little parachute now that's sort of taking me in all sorts of directions, and I maybe not a parachute, maybe like a hang glider would be better. Parachute, I would just still be falling. Maybe I still am, who knows. All right, look, I'm gonna bail. I always talk way longer than I should, and I'm sure I'm boring everybody. So, oh my God, I loved Python. Python was really fun. The problem I found with Python is the programming is so it's so important for the formatting. And I of course, my formatting is terrible. You've seen my cable management. It's terrible. All right, I'm out of here. You don't have to go anywhere, actually. What am I saying? Barnacle streams on YouTube. So we will be streaming live. We're going to do Tech Talk at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So go check out Tech Talk, Barnacles, and I'll see you there. And we'll be geeking out about stuff, probably none of which is listed in the titles because we tend to be a little bit off topic. ADHD, kind of fun. Squirrel streams. So until we geek again, I shall say a cheerio, a fair and adieu. I will say be safe, be kind, be brilliant, and huzzah! Later. Remember, Barnacles, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you there. Cheerio.